Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you? And welcome back to AIMBOT. Am I morally bankrupt or them? It's a good question. Thank you so much for joining me. And Phantom, I see you in the chat. Like you're already a troll in my heart. Level 20, absolutely max level, max level on that one. But thank you for joining me, and we're back today with another episode. I might get into it very fast today. I just want to mention, hello, Deviant Outcast. I do see you there. Hello, hello. Oh, yeah, the comments. Yeah, I can turn those on. I just want to go, hello. So good to see you. I had a fantastic debate. I'm still kind of riding high off of it. It was awesome. I'll probably talk a bit more about it tomorrow in the member stream. But yeah, it was really good, really good. I had a blast. It was a great time. And yeah, I must say those people over there in Raging Tomatoes channel, they're kind of brutal when it comes to comments, but that's okay. I have thick skin. It's fine. You know, if like, you know, what's that adage that if you can't win the argument, like, no, if you can't beat the argument, beat the table kind of thing. Yeah, that's basically it. If you can't win the debate, start insulting. Like that seems to be the modus operandi. So I really take it as a compliment that they start insulting from just about the word go. Hello, Andrew. Good to see you, mate. Really good to see you. 5 readerships. Oh, that reminds me. So sorry. Let's see. Who was that for? Give me 1 second. Thank you so much, Jedi. I'm going to pop this up just to show the Jedi off. Thank you so much, Jedi. We have them going out to Crisp, Michael Damasakinos, hang on a second, Nymphaeum. Okay. Tinker Phil, that's really hard to pronounce. I just want to say that. Tinker Phil, Razor Robinson. Thank you so much. Enjoy your emotes and other benefits. Welcome to the readership. There you go. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, and that reminds me, I might have some more to give. Give me 1 second. I want to check this. I always forget about the free monthly ones. So thank you, Jedi. That really does remind me, mate. Really appreciate it. It should be. Shouldn't I have them? Shouldn't I have them? Hang on a second. Let me check this out on the normal station channel thing. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Membership gifting, yeah. Ugh. Boom! There it goes. Out they go. Who'd I get? Who's the winners? Come on, give it to me. Lefty. I like it. Stender Painting, a Lito 84, Calasia 789. Calasia's awesome. Calasians, I've known them for a while now, actually. They sort of were on Amy's channel, and they're on the they're a mod for the line. Awesome person. Frodnos and S. Cook. Thank you so much. Enjoy your winners, chicken dinners, everybody. Enjoy your emotes and other benefits. Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree. Lefty, what an absolute champ you are. Absolutely. Absolutely. Calasia is awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. I 100% agree. Very supportive. Like, you're all fantastic. Very supportive. Look, I mentioned this too in a comment. Like, it really does. It really helps to have your support live in a debate. I can't tell you how much it means to me. Sort of just to know that you have people around that, you know, are not just trying to insult you and stuff like that. Just to have those people who are sort of saying, hey, you know, you can do it. It means so much to me. But anyway, I'll leave that for the member stream tomorrow. But I want to say, if you shop to the debates, if you just shop, even if you're disagree with me and you're asking questions, that's fine. But it means a great deal to me that you've shown up and you're even listening to the arguments that I'm presenting. Really appreciate it. So thank you, everybody. But if you can't make it, don't stress, don't fret. It's all good. I even though it's nice to have people there, and it is nice. Don't get me wrong; it's really nice to have people there. I don't want people to kill themselves trying to support me. Everything is appreciated, but I can go in there and challenge these people. That's not a problem at all. And I just the guy, it was hard to listen to the I wouldn't go that far, Deviant. It really is what I expect when you live in a sort of, because I mean, look, okay, yes, I get you. His arguments weren't great. I get you. They weren't great. And maybe I'm, giving him a bit of charity there, but his arguments weren't great. But don't forget, he comes from that precept school. So at least I'll give him credit for this. He didn't go down that precept route, which is what I expected, right? I thought he was going to go down the precept, well, you can't have knowledge of anything or make any kind of statement without God, kind of precept. And he didn't. So that is at least, something. Not that I wasn't ready for it. That's what I was actually expecting. I was 100% ready for the precept, but he didn't do it. So that's something. That's good. Because I mean, I was worried that it was just going to be a one of those precept. Well, you can't know anything without God, therefore Christianity is better. So I 100% do not detract from that. He didn't even try to go a precept route, and that's good, right? That's progress in my mind, because that's just it just nobody wants to see that. You all agree on the laws of logic, the world around you, how the world is working. Nobody wants to see you sit there and go, well, I have knowledge because I know things. It's just silly. It's just silly. So I do appreciate that he actually stuck to the topic and didn't try the precept thing. Yeah, I don't know. They definitely, in my mind, they definitely do. I don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think that they try to I don't know. They try to sort of say that slavery in the Bible wasn't slavery when it kind of was. Yeah. Oh, my pleasure, Kalasia. My pleasure. Look, if I could choose it, it would probably be you. It would probably be you, but I can't choose them. So really, I mean, you can just thank the gods of Google for that one, because, it was really up to them. I had no say in it. I had no say in it. Absolutely no say. Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of weird. I want to be charitable and go, hey, they don't believe in slavery, but at the same time, defending, that slavery is a thing, just like employment is really bad. It's really bad. It's a bad look. But here's the thing, right? That something um that horrible, right? You're sitting there going, well, yeah, there was slavery, but also working is slavery, and you're trying to mess it up. I trust that the audience realizes how bad that looks. Like, I have to trust that people realize that when you start going, well, what is slavery? And if we're all at work, then slavery isn't that bad. Owning another person is really horrendous. That is a horrendous thing to say. um, that kind of works for my point that Christian morals can excuse a lot of things because they are acceptable in the Bible, or they are acceptable for the glory of God, or acceptable because you are doing the Christian thing. Like, that's the whole point. That things that ordinarily we would say, well, that's horrible. become acceptable because of the Christian sort of, you know, you have, instead of doing the best for people, you're doing the best to placate a god. And since that god can be interpreted any number of ways, as we see, and that's the other sort of thrust of that point, that it's interpreted all over the place. It's not a very good way to implement a moral system. That's the whole point. So yes, it's awful, but at the same time, it just reinforces my point. And that's, and it was really good to see that it wasn't just me. There was a comment in there saying, "Hey, you're a good debater, better than Alex's. Come to the Christian side." Uh, which just, that made me laugh. I should screenshot that comment, because I'm trying to screenshot comments. I was wondering if people would like me to do, funniest comments and weirdest comments that I've gotten, because I want to do a, like, start screenshotting them and then do a maybe a members only, or something like that, of just, the weirdest and wackiest and wildest comments I've gotten, and the ones that I've liked. But one of them was sort of like, "Oh, you're a much better debater than Alex. Come over to the Christian side." And I'm like, "Ha- ha- like, if I don't believe in a god, how am I supposed to come over to the Christian side? Like, I don't, I, I, what the hell? I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand how I'm supposed to come over to the Christian side when I'm an atheist. Like, I'd get if you're saying, "Hey, here's the reasons why a God exists," but, like, I okay, so a lot of the people that I know in the atheist sphere, we've talked about it before and said, "You know what? Considering some of the people making a ton of money with the worst arguments out there, um, we would probably make a lot more money if we were Christian." And I'm aware of that, that there's a lot of people willing to support the Christians out there, because they think that Christians, they will support their person more because they think they're obliged to, because God commands them to. I could not in good conscience do that. Right? If I didn't believe in a God, I would never say that just because it's better for me financially. There is no way I can do that. And plus, what kind of, it's almost like it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, as long as you're doing the best for Christianity. Like, they don't seem to care if you believe it or not. It's like, say, Jordan Peterson. Under most person's definitions, any normative definition out there, you would call him an atheist, because I don't think he actually believes in, God, the actual person or being that judges people and raises people from the dead and things like this. I don't think he actually believes that. I could be wrong. I don't think so. But they don't seem to care as long as he's doing the best, which is wild. It's so weird. Um, yeah, I can probably find the comment if you want. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, it's nice. It's flattering and it's a good compliment. And I said thank you. But, like, how in good conscience could I just argue for something that I didn't believe? Like, I just, there's sort of, I think when you're talking about beliefs, I don't think you can just choose them. This is sort of called doxastic voluntarism. It's basically a voluntary belief, like you can just choose it. And not a lot of people subscribe to that. Most people subscribe to doxastic involuntarism, which means that you can't choose your beliefs. You have to be convinced, even if you convince yourself. But it's sort of this idea that you can just change what you believe. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that if you're changing your belief, it sort of reminds me of motivated reasoning. But anyway, yeah, I couldn't be bothered finding anything. It's on Raging Tomatoes channel, so um, let me see. Nope. Where is it? Live. Um, yeah, yeah. Here we go. Hang on. Yeah, so like, thanks for the yeah, this guy. Come to the Christian side, bro. You're definitely a better debater than Alex. I don't, when it comes to stances on things. Oops, I didn't add it to the screen. Hang on. There we go. Hold it. I'll unthing it. But there it is. Come to the Christian side, bro. You're definitely a better debater than Alex. It's like, okay, uh, like my criteria of whether I'm on the Christian side or not is largely centered around what I actually believe. Like, so I don't I don't get I don't understand why I would like be going, well, I'm a better debater than most Christians. I'll be on the Christian side now. I don't know. It's a weird comment, but I appreciate the sentiment. I do. I do. I do. Hey, don't hassle Care Bears, Andrew. I had a Care Bear when I was young. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I hear you. That's a very weird thing at the moment. I think he's that sort of surrounded thing is being discussed a lot, and I'm trying to do my own thing on it. So I'm trying not to watch anybody's review or anything of it because I don't want them to influence what I think. So um, yeah, it's just difficult. It's just difficult. Anyway, I'm going to get into the aimbot. So what's aimbot? So basically, we're applying some sort of morality to "Am I the asshole?" on Reddit. I apply secular humanism because that is my moral framework for evaluating things. It is based upon looking at the reasonable consequences and seeing if that is good or bad for human well-being. And sometimes it's really fuzzy. One of the most interesting things, actually, in that debate was Alex sort of going, "Oh, your answers are so long-winded." Number one, I didn't think that they were that long-winded, to be honest. I've heard a lot of people that are a lot more long-winded than me, but we're talking about morality, one of the most complicated things. Okay, John, not a problem, but it was good to see you, mate. Thanks for dropping in. I'm sorry I didn't notice. Anyone else dropped in that I haven't seen? Well, Jess dropped in. I do see Jess in there. You always have trust the audience. Debates have no winners, no points, no umpires calling balls and strikes. Yeah, I think that Sarah's pretty reasonable, though. To be honest with you, she was good. Divine command theory. Well, no, I mean, yeah, Kalasia, you're right. There can be divine command theory, but that makes morality subjective, with the subject being God. It's whatever they tell you is moral. The thing that Alex walked right into was he said, well, it comes from God's nature, which is a different thing altogether. It's sort of a virtue ethics almost at that point, I think. But the problem there is then you've got to own everything that God does, because the next question is, does God act in his nature, right? If God acts in his nature, then whatever God acts out or does is moral, because that has to be moral, right? So if God always acts in a moral way and God always acts in his nature, then say the slaughter of the Amalekites is then moral. And then you get into a position like Alex does, where it's sort of like, well, genocides aren't always bad. There's sometimes justification for them. And then you've got problems because you have this cognitive dissonance between um, the like thinking, okay, genocides are always bad, right? Like they are always completely unjustified. And genocides are justified because God is good. Like that's the cognitive dissonance, and you'll notice that. So Kalasia dropped in. Tilting windmill. You windmill it up, buddy. As I said, Jess was here. Yeah, defending prison slavery, defending the biblical genocides in one debate. Yeah, and he's kind of like, expected me to go, well, yeah, the American prison system where they sort of work people for very little money is moral. No, no, I don't think that's moral either. That's the thing. I don't have to. It's really weird. But it's sort of again, we see that black and white thinking. If you sound like a wrestling announcer, that's because I'm trying to sound like a wrestling announcer, Phantom. I hate to tell you that's what I've done to like just give that level of appreciation for people that send in readerships. So it's not much, but I don't know how else to thank people except for embarrassing myself publicly. Oh, Purple's here. Hey, Purple. Good to see you. Purple rhymes with oranges here. That's awesome. It's so good to see you. Oh yeah, no, I've seen worse than that. I've seen worse than that. Um, yeah, no, I've seen way worse than that. So yeah. Um, if you want to see that in an insane way. I did a debate with who was it? It was Nephilim Free, right? And I almost could swear. I don't know this for sure, but to me, my perception was that he sounded drunk by the end of it. I gotta say, like if you're in a debate and you have to get hammered to cope with it, there's something wrong there. And like it didn't like the subject was it Nephilim? No, it was Mr. Batman. No, I'm thinking of the wrong one. No, it was a different one. Forget Drunk Neffy. Mr. Batman. And like it didn't even, it was like on Noah's Ark or something, and it didn't even approach Noah's Ark. It like he would not stick to the subject at all. Yeah, I got to agree, Andrew. Yeah, I see your correction, mate. Yeah. No, I see you. Yeah, no, me too, me too. And there's a lot of things that my country does that I consider immoral. I mean, it may not be illegal. I think us doing offshore detention centers for illegal immigrants is immoral as well, horribly so. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. He was a character. He was, angry and yeah, that was a modern day debate. That was weird. But I will get into the aimbotting. Oh, hey Jason, good to see you, mate. Yeah, I'm just having a chat before we start the aimbotting, but I was just about to start, but always good to see you. I think you were going on, weren't you going on Apostate Sisters soon to thing Apostate Sisters. I think Jason was going on Apostate Sisters recently to promote BajaCon. Yeah, it's on the 17th of the 6th. Okay, so it's in a couple of weeks. All right, no worries, no worries. I thought I saw you saw up there. Okay, let's go. All right, and welcome to AIMBOT. Let's get started. Our first up one is from Professional Clear 792. Am I the arsehole for blowing up at my parents for something my adult sister did? Yeah, probably. Blowing up at why are you blowing up at your parents for something your adult sister did? That's no, you're the coolest, Perp. Stop, stop. Don't underestimate your coolness. Okay, Deviant's trying to house train you. It's just, I don't understand that. Why would you blow up? It's like I can understand if your parents like taught your sister or reinforced your, but that would be blowing up at them for something they did, right? It wouldn't be what your sister did. It would be what they did to your sister to convince them of that behavior. Like I don't understand this at all. Anyway, let's get into it because at the first I would say yeah, absolutely, but I mean I'm not even sure how you would what is that? I don't know what that was. Please ignore that pop up. I've got no idea. Um, oh, look, Apostate Sisters. They are just awesome people. Awesome people. I really like talking to them. Really like hanging out. So yeah, 100%. Hopefully they're going to Baja Con. I think they would be a absolute benefit being there. They've got such an amazing story. Uh, okay. I, 26 female, have a sister, Amy, 28 female, who has always had a difficult relationship with food. Ah, dear. She was bullied as a kid and turned to food for comfort. Yeah, yeah, and that can be a coping mechanism, sure. It can be pretty unhealthy though. We wanna try and do a healthier coping mechanisms for people, and but yeah, I can really empathize with being bullied and having coping mechanisms. I certainly have coping mechanisms from something like that. I generally isolate myself a lot if I do feel down or bad or whatever. Not anything against anybody. That's just the way that I handle things. So I can understand that, but I want to have healthier coping mechanisms, like going to people and sharing with them what I'm going through, rather than cutting myself off from everybody. But yeah, that can be a problem. So I totally understand it. As an adult, she still struggles with self control, especially around things she finds appetizing. Oh, look, food is not my comfort mechanism, and I think I struggle with self-control around things she finds appetizing. Like I think a lot of people struggle. They haven't been bullied at all, and they still struggle with self-control around really nice food. I'm just saying I don't think that's necessarily a result of being bullied. That's just the result of you know donuts being really nice. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I was gonna do that. Yeah, I told Joe I was gonna do that. I am so sorry. You're absolutely right. Look, I'll do this one and then I will put the protest. Look, Deviant, you are an absolute golden goddess. That is something that I swore I would remember, and I didn't. So after this, I will run the new ad that Joe did. Not a problem at all. Not a problem. Oh, Jason Freer, if you are there, mate, just be aware that I got a copyright hit from the song in your ad. So if the Apostate Sisters play the ad, maybe muted or something like that. I'm not sure if they're going to. So just be aware of that. It wasn't a strike or anything. It was just a hey, turn sharing on for this person. I just like changed the music kind of thing to something generic in YouTube system, or just muted the music or something. So just be aware of that. I'm not sure what happened there, but just be aware of it. Um, okay, our parents have never set boundaries with her around food, and that's carried into adulthood. She currently lives with them, and they do all the grocery shopping and cooking. So, should you be setting boundaries with other people around food? Okay, maybe. Um, I think that at a certain point, though, the parents have to, hand off. I mean, she's 28. I mean, come on, she's 28. Like, you know, she is old enough to determine her life. If you're going to blame them for letting her eat whatever as a child and that habit has grown, then you're angry at something that they've done, not something that sort of thing. So I don't know. It's sort of, um, I don't think that you can really blame the parents for that. I think at 28, you've got to take responsibility for yourself. And yeah, there might be problems that you've inherited from growing up in a household where they don't, they say do whatever and things like that. But I think as an adult, you have to say, well, if she has a problem with something, she's responsible for it. She might not be to blame, but I don't think the parents are necessarily to blame as well. I don't think there is a household you can grow up in where the parents are perfect. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, parenting is sort of one of those things where you're going to have some bad effects on your children no matter what, some habits, some lessons learnt. But really, once you're past a certain age, it's up to you to change that or not as you see fit. I don't think you can blame the parents really either. I mean, for letting her have too much food, I don't. It's strange. My husband, 28 male, recently had a birthday and I planned a surprise party. I sent him out of the house for a few hours so I could set up and asked my parents to come help. I specifically asked them not to bring Amy setting up. I specifically asked them not to bring Amy setting up. Oh, because setting up involved putting out snacks, drinks, and homemade cake with frosting. Okay. They showed up with Amy anyway, saying it wouldn't be fair to exclude her. I gave her a few small tasks and specifically asked her not to touch any of the food until the guests arrive, but I was too busy to keep a constant eye on her. At one point, I went to the kitchen and found Amy with the fridge open, eating the frosting out of the mixing bowl. She had eaten nearly half of it. As soon as she saw me, she burst into tears and said she only meant to try a little but couldn't stop. Ah, that's so heartbreaking. Oh, sweetie. Oh, sweetie. That's heartbreaking. My parents heard us and came in. My mum said it wasn't that big a deal since the cake was untouched and I still had enough frosting for a crumb coat, but I'd planned to do specific cake decorations and now there wasn't enough frosting. I didn't have the time or ingredients to make more. My dad suggested going to the store to buy a tub of pre-made frosting, saying it was the same thing. I explained my husband tries to avoid a lot of the ingredients found in store, bought frosting and wouldn't want that. My dad said to just not tell him since he wouldn't even know the difference. Wow, okay. Yeah. Oh, I think it's just the music, mate. I don't know where the music's from. It may be like I didn't have it. It might be something else. I have no idea. It's just, I'm just telling you what came up in my feed. It's not a big deal at all. I'm not particularly worried. It's just, yeah, just be aware of it. Maybe the music that's doing it. They might have something like, oh, you've got to, give us a link or something in your video description, and I don't have that, so that might be the reason. I honestly don't know, mate, but yeah, it's not a big deal at all. Um, that suggestion was super frustrating to me. Yeah, no, lying to your husband is not a cool solution to this particular problem. Just sort of saying, "Hey, replace it." And I look, I think that, I mean, if your sister definitely needs counseling and some help. Like, if she's bursting into tears, then she's obviously distraught about it. She's obviously really distraught about it. Suggestion was super frustrating to me. I told my parents that they couldn't convince me that this was no big deal and that they had allowed this by not setting boundaries with Amy's binge eating and by bringing her to set up. They told me to back off and be more sensitive to my sister and that it wasn't her fault. I responded by saying that it was more angry at them because at least Amy felt bad while they were trying to downplay the situation. They got upset and said it wasn't fair to blame them for Amy's choices and that she was an adult and they can't control her. They also said that they were trying to help by giving suggestions and that I was being stubborn by shutting all of them down. They ended up leaving, and now they're giving me the silent treatment, even though Amy has apologized for eating the frosting. Am I the arsehole for involving them in this? So we this is really heartbreaking. It's I don't think so, no. My first impression is no. I think that sort of, um, what we have here, and no, Amy may not be to blame, that the system may not be to blame. Like, it's like any addiction, these coping, maladaptive coping habits. In this case, it is sort of eating without being able to control yourself. There's no one's really to blame for it. It is one of those coping mechanisms that probably got her through the horrible time she was having when she was being bullied. It doesn't mean that she's to blame for it, or we're not looking to blame people. At the same time, um, the parents aren't to blame for it. What they're doing is enabling it, right? They're sort of going, okay, well, we're going to put you in these situations. Um, I'm not going to say it's as bad. I don't want to do comparisons over people's situations, but it's like if you take an alcoholic to a pub. That's a really bad thing to do. And you can't address a problem if you're not going to even admit that it exists, right? And parents do a lot of this. I know from personal experience that, with some of the mental health issues I had when I was younger, my mother would never. It was so hard to get her to see it, and you'll hear this time and time again. Parents don't want to admit where there's a problem. I mean, there can be various reasons, as far as I'm aware, why that is. Maybe they don't want to, think that something's wrong with their child, or something's, bad has happened to their child. Maybe they feel responsible in some way, even though parents aren't really responsible for that. They do the best they can. Like, we don't sort of say, "Hey, you've got to be perfect." And if there does have these issues come, like, obviously this was a coping mechanism for bullying. I get that. Totally understandable. Like, totally understandable. Um, and that, but that sort of, um, compulsive behavior, when it becomes that habit forming behavior, um, there are healthier ways to cope with it. And if you're going to enable that really unhealthy behavior, then yeah, you're to blame for that, right? You're not blaming your parents for what Amy has done. You're blaming them for enabling her unhealthy behavior. That's what you're blaming them for, right? Like, so we've got to separate what we're sort of saying people are doing. So sort of talking to the parents, like, when you put her in these situations, you make her very vulnerable, and she obviously has a problem, but this is where you've got to get uh, professional mental health help, because this situation, you know, when we're talking about blame, okay, when we're talking about this, if you make somebody feel bad for being an addict, or being, have a bad habit, for instance, right? If you make Amy here feel bad, what's the first thing she's going to do, right? Because the behavior that she has is, when she feels bad, she turns to food, right? That's the established behavior that she has had. She was bullied in school, felt bad, turned to food, and that made her feel better. Okay, now in the short term, that makes her feel better. Um, in the long term, it doesn't work, right? It is unhealthy. So if you just make her feel bad, she's just going to turn to food. And then what's she going to feel afterwards? She'll feel better for a tiny bit, because that's the neurologically and psychologically, that's the thing that makes her feel good. But after a while, she's going to feel even worse. It's a vicious cycle. So the first thing is do not blame her. Don't make her feel bad about it. That's the very first thing. Like, stop making anyone feel bad. Secondly, that the parents have to acknowledge there's a problem, and I think that that comes from Amy acknowledging that there's a problem. But if she's in tears on the, unable to stop, I think she knows there's a problem, and that's where you need to get help for Amy, because she's in a bad place, and this is really, really a horrible situation. I will put the poll up, but I don't think I think that I think that blaming the parents is not the way forward either. I don't think it's the way forward either, because they're just going to double down on, well, we've done nothing wrong. I think making or getting them to understand that there's a problem here, like, that Amy needs help and they need to support her in that. And having a professional talk to the parents can sometimes be the way forward. Like, sort of getting them to say, "Hey, your daughter needs your support. This is what she needs." You need to be conscious if and I've seen this for um, people going through alcoholism, for instance. You need to talk to the family and say, "Hey, nobody can come round and want to share a bottle of wine. Nobody can come round and take them to the pub. Like, you can't do that. They need your support." Um, was the poster right for um I don't think that I don't think they are blaming her for what their sister did. I don't think that's the case. I think they're blaming them for enabling that behavior, right? For um scolding. I'll use scolding. That's scolding their parents. So I think that sort of talking to them is um I think that talking to them is right, and sort of saying, "Hey, this is the wrong thing to do. This isn't the best for her," is the right thing to do. But I think the way that the poster did it, that she's blaming them instead of saying, "Hey, like, you've got to support her. She needs help," and sort of saying, "Hey, we should all gather round and support her," right? Like, not place blame, but rather, sort of say, "Hey, there's a massive problem here." They're assholes. Like, they obviously won't admit that there's a problem there. That's an issue. Don't get me wrong. "Oh, you hooligan. Hey, Justin, for 20 months? You madman. What are you doing? 20 months. Thank you so much." And yeah, do hit the like button. Um, you know, I I I think that you know blaming the parents is the wrong thing to do as well. Like, you can't just say, "Hey, you did a bad thing by doing this." They obviously have not accepted that there's a problem. We've got to get past that first. The first step to fixing any problem is admitting that it exists. That is the very first step. And they're not there yet. So we've got to focus on that, right? We've got to say, "Hey, the fact that she can't control herself, she needs help." Right? So just lambasting the parents and saying, "I told you not to," that's not the right thing to do either. So I kind of think, yeah, you've been a bit of an asshole by blaming the parents in front of Amy, who's going to feel bad about it. It's not helpful. It's not really helpful. So I kind of say everybody is in this situation. Mm. What have the Redditors got to say? Oh, I feel a bit. I feel a bit like the Redditors are going to go, this person. You know what they can be like. But anyway, H nuts, not the asshole. You knew this could be a problem. You asked your parents to leave Amy at home. Your parents refused. You asked them to keep her out of the kitchen. They refused. Amy ruined your plans for the cake, and your parents gave unhelpful suggestions. And they're mad because you were right, because you spoke up? Nope. It's easier to forgive someone for being wrong than it is to forgive them for being right. Yeah, maybe. Got to love how they tried to guilt OP by saying, "Don't blame Amy," and OP goes, I'm blaming you." They turn around and blame Amy. Yeah, I mean, the parents are being absolute dicks, I know, but, um, yeah, I get that. I would just like something a bit more constructive than, "Hey, you didn't do what I said," kind of thing. Ugh. I just really feel for Amy because, you know, I I just I mean, imagine how bad it is that people are fighting and that you're being left out because you can't control this problem. It's horrible. Yeah, I get it. We want to do something um to change that behavior and be in control of yourself. Oof. Not the asshole, because you requested they not bring her to the help set up, and they did. When they brought her, one of them should have stayed with her. Yeah, I agree with that. You know, that being said, Amy is now 28 and aware of a problem. She has to own that. If she's not in therapy, that's something she needs to be in. Yes, 100%. She should have declined coming if she thought she wouldn't be able to control herself. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. And yes, there is a certain point where you've got to um, take responsibility for your own stuff. But at the same time, it's very hard if you're invited to go somewhere to sort of go, no, I've got a problem and I can't. It's very difficult to do so. Um, it's a lot easier for you not to invite an alcoholic than it is for them to say, no, I don't want to go to the pub. But you've first got to be made, make everybody aware that there is this problem. So to avoid it, kind of thing. That's the whole point. And you know, so I never noticed before. I was so the reason why I know about this is because I was in group therapy where there were a couple of people who did have a problem with alcohol. And until they had actually said and talked about it, I had no idea. Right? I was clueless. Like, you think, oh yeah, there's alcoholics, they have a problem. You don't understand from their perspective what it's like. That there's billboards, there's ads, there's they push it, kind of thing. And I had no idea how it felt until I'd actually sat down and talked really openly and honestly with somebody. And I get it. I absolutely get it. And this, like anything, everybody's got to be made aware of the impact and just how pernicious that idea is and how much it's in your face every day. um you know Wherever you go, it is horrifying when you look at it from their perspective. So, but people can be made aware of that. We can learn, we can change, we can grow and say, hey, you're totally fine the way you are. You don't need anything. We accept you. You're welcome to hang out and have fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just got a coping behavior that you want to change. That's awesome. That is being a mature, healthy adult. That is awesome. And you have nothing to apologize for. Nothing at all. Encouragement, support, lots of love, lots of caring. That's what we can do. That's what we can do. And we can do things so that they won't be in that situation. They're called sort of danger situations, or yeah, I think they're called danger situations, like where they are tempted. We can do that for them. That's not a problem at all. Come on, let's support each other, everybody. Come on, let's do it. Let's make each other better, not worse. Not the asshole. Amy can apologize all she wants, but she's a grown woman who chose to do exactly what you asked her not to. She's an asshole, and so are your parents. Enjoy the silence. Wow. Okay. Okay, Reddit. When they eventually call, ask them first thing if they're calling to apologize. If not, say bye and hang up. Okay. All right. Like, seriously. Yeah, you are enabling, but wow. Okay, Reddit. Yeah, I don't think sort of, if your family isn't apologizing, just say bye. I think it's a bit more complex than that. You can't always you know, just say goodbye to your family if they're not doing what you want. I mean, come on now. Come on. All right. What did people got to say? Um, let's see here. Oh, this is Bahacon. Nancy will Patty's too far away. Ah, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, I'm too far away as well. Jessica the trans metal alchemist, 28, is bona fide, full grown up. If she was in adult apprenticeship, say 20 or 22, it'd be a different story. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I'm inclined to agree, but that's not it's not like, oh, once you hit a certain age you can't have these problems. It's just, we've got to take responsibility. I do agree. Deviant Outcast says, sounds to me like the system might have an eating disorder. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's Purple Rhymes with Orange says that might be a cringe from the dad. That's a cringe from the dad. Okay. Okay. Um, Purple Rhymes with Orange says, okay, also taking that attitude can kill someone with allergies. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. If you're sort of, working with different ingredients for allergies, yeah, I gotcha. But it sounds like they just make their own frosting instead of just buy it in a packet from the store. I'm not sure if there would be anything to do with that. Andrew Christopherson, lol, definitely a boomer response. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Tilting, I definitely know this. Okay, tilting. One of the many things you don't know about Tilting Windmill is that they're a frosting connoisseur. I don't know if you know this. It is 100%. Yeah. Big Bad Mama says the parents are 100% to blame. They tried to divert blame to the sister by telling the OP, be more sensitive to your sister. They ended up disrespecting one child while blaming the other. Yeah, I get you. I don't think they're 100% to blame. I think that at a certain point you have to take responsibility for your own problems. And sort of, you know, so uh, maybe it's my time in, like, sort of in an IT related field, but blame isn't useful, right? When all the servers go down, everything crashes, all the connections are screwed. Blame doesn't fix anything. So there is a um, there is usefulness in trying to find where the problem is. Don't get me wrong, there is usefulness to that, but the first priority is fix the problem. Maybe that's just the way I think because that's, my background, but, like, no, at the first start, like, sitting around and pointing fingers doesn't help. It does not help. Like, the first thing is and the first thing usually in where I've worked is, like, make sure everything is secure. Like, clamp down on security, cut down systems if, secure everything, fix the problem, and then find out what went wrong and where so it does not repeat. Like, that's sort of the last thing you do. Well, last thing's report, but, you know, you get what I'm saying. Like, it's pointless trying to blame when you haven't fixed the problem. So, um, I think that I think that there's I wouldn't say that that's 100% them to blame. Um, I think they're enabling. I do think they're enabling a bad behavior, which is not great, but I don't think they're 100% to blame. I think that sort of the person who does have that that maladaptive behavior has to take, responsibility as well. Yahooligan says, I think there's a specific medical condition that explains this. Yeah, I mean, it could just be, a food addiction, though, basically. And hi, Big Bad Mama. It's good to see you. Andrew says, that's a good answer response. More anger and disappointment with the rent, not Amy. Yeah. Jessica, the Transmitter Alchemist. I'm not sure what you mean with the rent. With the rent. I'm wondering if that's misspelled or something else, Andrew. With the rent. Okay. Parent? More anger and disappointment with the parent, not Amy. Oh, parents. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I don't. It still doesn't fix anything. You can yell at the parents all you want. The problem is they're probably going to double down on their, well, we're just helping her or whatever. You've got to have somebody sitting. Jessica, the Transmitter Alchemist, says this is a very difficult issue. Under what circumstances is it okay to take away the agency of a person with a mental illness so they don't hurt themselves? Yeah, and that's true. Can you knock the bottle out of an alcoholic's hand? Is that the right thing to do? It's very difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, we have instances where we definitely do, like for say a teenager or somebody with anorexia nervosa, for instance. We definitely do take away their autonomy in order to save their lives, and that is a horrific illness that costs especially young girls their lives, and it is horrifying. So yeah, you've got a good point. I think it's when that would directly harm them. I mean, we can sort of say, hey, that will harm you in the long term through, eating too much, put on weight. But I think it's when it directly hurts them would be the answer, I would say. Because we don't know that it will directly hurt them. We don't know. Maybe she will live a happy life until she's 80. We don't know. So I think that when we know it will directly hurt them would be my answer. But that's a really good question. And it is morally grey. Absolutely, Jessica. Absolutely. Mm. And it sort of gets to the point where, well, if we intervene for certain things like anorexia, and we don't intervene for something else, it seems like it's a matter of time. Like if it harms you really fast, then we step in. If it harms you over a long period of time, we don't step in. So I suppose it depends on how imminent that harm is. Like if somebody is harming themselves directly that will hurt them straight away, we step in and take away their autonomy. If it is something that will harm them after a long time, so they will have an opportunity to address it in other ways, maybe we don't. And that's an interesting question. It's a really interesting question. I would love to talk to somebody involved in psychology about that. I really would. Do I know anybody who's in psychology? I know Maudie, but Christopher Maudie's a researcher, so I don't think he does any counselling. I'd love to talk to somebody about that, though. Tilden Windmill says, it really seems like the parents are coddling Amy and aren't facing up to her less than great dietary choices. I'd be upset at the parents. OP is not the arsehole. No, fair. And I think that you are right. I think that, I don't think the parents are definitely in the right here. Like they are absolutely enabling her. Deviant says, "Oh no, that's definitely eating disorder territory." Yes, I mean I can't diagnose it, but I have struggled with anorexia for 20 years myself. Free 13 years summer. Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome, Deviant. I do see the signs clear as day. Poster gives the impression of lacking empathy, and the entire family should come together to support the sister and seek and get help. I could not agree more. And that is amazing. And Deviant, that you should be so proud. That is incredible, and 100% support you. The fact Jessica says the fact that sister has verbally expressed regret and lack of control, yes, it means that she doesn't want to do this. So the parents enabling her illness is a violation of the sister's wishes. That is true. Yes, yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. Purple rhymes with orange. But I mean, it's got to be the sister that like you can't decide that the parents can't see the sister because they can't stop enabling her, right? You can't decide that. It's got to be Amy that says, look, if you're going to enable this behavior that I want to change, you can't be around, right? If you keep bringing me things to eat, if you keep doing all of that, I can't be around you. But it's tough because I think she lives with her parents. I think she lives with them, as I recall. Yeah, she lives with them. So that's really difficult. That's a difficult situation if they don't admit that there's a problem and will not support. Purple Rhyme Storm says, I wonder if the parents managing and restricting Amy's food all her life never left her never facing problem. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That could well be the case. Yeah. Um, Left-handed Joe says, as a peasant, I'm sorry, as a peasant, I vowed not to repeat the mistakes my folks did and made a whole new list of mistakes of my own. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard, Jedi. It really is. And as a parent, you do the best you can. You see Justin here. So it's definitely a place for cool kids to hang out. Oh, look, Justin's just cool because he knows French. All right, he's just it's just the French that does it. That's all. It's that Quebecian history that does it. It's not fair. No one can compete with that. Um, let's see. Hi, Tori. Good to see you. Hey, Tori. Welcome, welcome. Purple rhymes with orange. I was thinking maybe the entire family should do some therapy together. Yeah, that would be amazing. And it's interesting when you do go to a psychologist, sometimes they'll say, hey, can we talk to the people that know you best? Like when I was doing therapy, they wanted to talk to Lynn, my wife, because it's sometimes hard to see. Someone once sort of described it. It's hard to see what's on the can, like on the jar from the inside. Like it's easier to read the label from the outside. Like sometimes you don't know what it is that you're doing until somebody. That's why we have interventions from friends and family when somebody is hurting themselves and the people around them. It's because sometimes they just can't see it. They just cannot see it. So yeah, it would be a really good idea. Yeah, Tilting agrees, absolutely. Deviant Outcast says, I think all the parties here are the arsehole. No one is recognizing the real issue. They're just blaming each other instead of rallying behind Amy and getting the help she needs. Professional help. Yeah, absolutely. I kind of agree, Deviant. I must admit that the parents are doing way worse than the sister, the poster here. Like the parents, they're not even at least the poster is acknowledging the problem exists, and I understand why she's frustrated at her parents. It's just sort of just berating them is not going to help the issue. It's not going to help. Purple rhymes with orange. My brother tried to set a rule that no one could bring alcohol to my mother's house. Didn't know why he felt he could make such a rule. Yeah, if the person who has the problem isn't admitting there's a problem, there's no way you're going to be able to help them by doing that. They addicts are gonna find what they're after. That's the problem. If they don't admit it, there's nothing you can do. Tori says it's completely possible to have a great time minus any kind of alcohol. Absolutely, yeah. And I cannot even remember the last time I had a drink, and I've had a great time a lot of times. Like wow, absolutely. but it is sort of a social lubricant, as they say, and it is something that people do. So, I don't miss it, to be honest with you. Um, Jessica, the transmetal alchemist. It is deeply cruel to constantly cause a mentally unwell person to relapse back into being unwell and self-harming, be it substance use, trauma, or a physiological problem. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Purple says, sounds like Amy is at least somewhat aware of her problem. Her parents are in denial. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, Purple runs orange. My father was an abusive alcoholic at work, but believed he didn't at home. Sorry, but he believed he didn't have a problem because he never missed a day at work. Yeah, and you do get a lot of that. Sort of they call it functional alcoholics, but I'm not sure how functional they are if they cannot, um, they cannot sustain relationships. They can't have sort of intimate relationships with the people that they're close to. Very hard. Very hard. Oh, your daughter has a nut allergy? Right. Made of facility right. She went to shock someone you yeah, and that anaphylactic shock is horrendous. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I got it eventually. I worked it out. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, yeah, it is. But even that amount of sort of, peanut oil can absolutely cause it. It's really bad. Okay. Well, I think, well, Deviant says forced medical intervention in case of anorexia only taken when the person is at death's door, when they're going to die unless they are force fed ASAP. Yes, yeah, correct. That's true, and that's really what I'm talking of. Like, if it's imminent, then it may be a case of intervention. If it's not imminent, then usually we leave it. Maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. It's an interesting discussion. Like, if somebody is a chain smoker and they're damaging themselves, do you intervene because they're harming themselves? No, because they can make decisions for themselves. Hmm. Okay, but I think that's the first one. How did the poll go? The poster morally passed. Okay. Yep. So most people agreed that the poster did the right thing. Um, I still think she should have gone about it differently, but I think challenging the parents on her sister having a problem, yes. The way she did it was not great. Was not great. It's not going to get people on your side by telling them they're awful. That's especially as somebody pointed out, sort of the boomer generation, that they're not going to come around to oh, we've done the wrong thing by you lambasting them or scolding them or going off on them. Nah, not going to happen. They will double down. Hey, Robin, it's so good to see you, Robin. Okay, next up, uh, in my opinion, genius more no. What? Anyway, am I the arsehole for not making the trip cross country to meet my nephew because my family are arseholes to my wife? No, no. I don't I don't know why, like, if you have a partner and they're really mean to them, I don't know why, you would accept that. Like, if people want to be assholes to your wife, they can, but then you can decide, "Hey, I don't want to see them if I'm going to feel bad every time I see them because my wife is upset." I don't know why, like, if that was happening to me and my family was an asshole to my wife, I would not, um I would not. Oh, yes, Jessica, Jessica, you saved me. See, I gotta say, my ADHD has been really kicking my ass lately, and I do apologize. I really apologize. Give me a sec, and I will work that out. I think Joe posted it on his Discord actually. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is why I need you, chat. This is why I need you here. Like seriously. This is why I need you. Okay. So this is an ad from Joe. So let's freaking go. All right, just finding my buttons. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, and that's the Kentucky Atheist. Joe is doing the in Williamstown, Kentucky, the Ark Encounter protest, which is an annual peaceful protest against the government supporting um, um, basically stuff they shouldn't be, stuff that they shouldn't be. But thank you, Deviant, and thank you, Jess, for keeping me on track and keeping me with it. I don't know what I'd do without you. You are amazing. I look. One day I'll work it out. One day, but it's not today. Okay, so yeah, like okay, so we're talking about. So if you don't know, like I was with Lynn. We got married. My mother was very kind of, you know, are you sure? Okay, straight up, she didn't really like Lynn at first, right? She really didn't like. She's like, are you sure about this? You know, didn't really like her at all. Um, Lynn's very quiet. She's very shy. She doesn't open up very much. She's very, and so my mother, who is very just a psychologist, likes to talk about things, likes to say things. She really was like I don't think this is the right person for you kind of thing. Um, and okay, so my mother was a force to be reckoned with in my family. Like absolutely a force to be reckoned with. It was sort of um, she really was very, very scary. Just to say that. But it's interesting because like later on when she sort of had breast cancer, she was I don't think she was in palliative care yet, but it was going that way kind of thing. She actually sat down and talked to my wife, and they had a very deep heart to heart, and she absolutely fell in love with her. She's like, I was completely wrong with my impression, and your wife is just a wonderful person, amazing, and it's sort of being your authentic self. And I'm sure my mother scared my wife a lot because she was very shy, very, very nice, just sweet person, but she wasn't very talkative. But when she actually met, got to know her really, um, you know, she absolutely fell in love with her. So I think it is that that thing of, be yourself and speak up and be who you are. People may get the wrong impression of you, and that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to put on airs and things like that and impress people. Just being who you are. Um, Anyway, yeah, but if my family said, "Hey, we're being mean to Lynn," and they were expecting me to come over, if they're being like, they can cut that crap out right now, or I am definitely not going there. So no, no, absolutely not. If your boundary is, "Hey, my family respects my wife," then tough crap. That's gonna happen. I don't care. And the thing about with my mother, she was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's my life, and I know her, and you know, I'm not going to take somebody else's word for who I should be with. That's not going to happen ever. I'm the one that decides my own life." So, I appreciate I think I sort of said I really appreciate that, you're worried, or you whatever, but I know better than you do. There's absolutely no way. So yeah, no, if someone was being assholes to Lynn, I would not be talking to them. In fact, I'd be saying, "Why are you so freaking mean to her? Stop." Mm, mm. Wow, what a start. Hi, my family hates my wife. It's not their decision to accept or not accept your wife. They don't like that she took me away from the East Coast. She was bigger when we met. Does that matter? I it what? She didn't go to a good school. She doesn't want kids. Surely that's her choice. She's too girly, then not girly enough. She can seem cold at first because she's a little reserved. Yeah, yeah. No, that's what people think of Lynn, and she is lovely because she's a little reserved. People think, "Oh, she's not very nice at all." No, she's absolutely a sweetheart. You just have to sort of get to know her. It has been hard. I was close to my brother, but he led the charge early on because she called him out for something and he didn't like it. Okay, he's the favorite, so they took his side. My little sister is the most neutral. I've tried to talk to them about it so many times that eventually just realized it wasn't going to change. I love my wife. I have no regrets. Absolutely. Right on, mate. Right on, mate. This past Christmas will be the last. They didn't give her any gifts. What? Excluded her from the cookie part? There are cookie parties? What is this thing? And why have people been keeping it a secret? What is a cookie party? Uh, a cookie party, also known as a cookie exchange, is a gathering where attendees bring baked cookies to share and sample. Each guest typically brings a batch of homemade cookies and distributes a set number of cookies to the attendees. At the end of the party, everyone goes home with an assortment of different cookies. Why have I not been clued into the cookie party? Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? What? What? How dare I'm going to blame chat. Chat, why did you not make me aware that cookie parties were a thing? How dare you? I caught mum and my aunts talking about her twice. I got us early flights and took us. Look, okay, I can't get past that. My mind's been blown that people have cookie parties. It's like a potluck, but with cookies. I don't know how you can bring something crap to a cookie potluck, but you know, her dad loves me. We have weekly cigar walks. Oh, that's sweet. Cigar walks? What is that like, just walking around smoking a cigar? I'm not sure I'd like that. Enjoying cigars outdoors while hiking. What the? Okay, so there's two things in this one post, there's two things I never, I never have heard of in my entire life. One is cookie parties, and one is cigar walks. Okay, weekly cigar walks. Okay, her mum drops in just for hugs. Her brothers and I have our own group chat. Her sister baked me a fucking birthday cake. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, it's just a birthday cake, dude. It should be this way with my family. I'm trying not to be all emo, but this shit hurts. Yeah, okay. No, I gotcha. I gotcha. Oh, and that sucks. Look, you've obviously been adopted by her family, and her family doesn't adopt you. That hurts, but you know, you have your own family. That's, your family are the people that act like family. My brother, the favorite, is having his first child in July. They have asked me, not us, to come and meet him. I told them no. I'm sick of the bullshit. Yep, that sucks you know, that sucks that they're doing this because their nephew's going to have the ramifications of it. But you cannot, like, somebody you love, putting them in that situation. I totally get it. I totally get it. Unless everything changes, I'm not going to waste my money. Mum got on the phone and told me I don't have to bring her. I should just come myself. Oh, damn. Oh, look, that's just cold, yo. That's cold. That's cold. Okay, you might not like his wife, but damn. Damn. I said, no, we're married. We're a package deal. Right on, brother. Right on. Absolutely. We're a package deal. Or sister. I mean, it doesn't say. It doesn't say, but I'm assuming that it's a guy, but maybe. Um, no, we're a package deal. Absolutely. Right on. Yep. We're both there, or you can forget it. Yes, absolutely. She twisted it to, oh, so she won't let you come unless she comes too? Wow. Wow. No. She might be absolutely fine with me going, and I would be the same. I would absolutely be the same. My wife is totally fine with me going alone, and I'm not gonna be there unless she is. Tough. Yeah, no, I get where this guy's coming from, and I told her, "No, I'm saying this, I'm sick of them treating her like shit. It's Jerry Springer levels of trashy." Well, that's vivid image. Yeah, okay. Dumb thing to say, and it set her uplifting all the grievances they had with her. Some of it is just stupid. She carries a water bottle wherever she goes. She hydrates. I'm sorry, your problem with her is that she hydrates well. Yeah, mum, she's from fucking California. We all do. Is that true? Hey, look, I should have my water bottle here somewhere. Oh yeah, right, right. I'm from Australia. What do you want? What the hell do you want? I have a water bottle. I carry it wherever I go. Yeah, it's called hydration. Like, seriously, I don't. Dad jumped back in to back up mum and accused me of holding adult problems against an unborn child. Oh, for fuck's sake. No. Said that I'm really not going to be a part of my nephew's life because my wife can't get along with the rest of the family. This is what I'm stuck on. Am I wrong? I do want to be in my nephew's life and it isn't his fault, but it feels wrong to reward them because it just won't ever end. No, you're not in the wrong. It sucks for the nephew. I totally get it. But unless, you have boundaries, and those boundaries can't just change because you feel bad for your nephew. Like, yeah. Oh, look, I got a coffee as well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I have a coffee as well. That is true. That is true. But, you know, okay, so I'm going to say not the asshole. I would be. This situation sucks, but it's not him doing it. He's tried to be reasonable, and then I mean, seriously, she carries a water bottle. That's their problem. Oof. Oof, 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 oof. I and I feel for his wife as well. I mean, she probably is going, "Well, I've tried so hard and they're not gonna accept it." What do you do in that circumstance? What can you do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Ay, 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 ay. That is rough. That is so rough on everybody concerned. No, well, I'll set up the thing, but I'm gonna say not the arsehole. I can just so in this case, I'm just using empathy, but what's the best for um what is the best for human well-being? Well, I mean, it's good for your nephew's well-being to be there, but it's really bad for your wife's, and really bad for your own. So I don't think we can sort of say, "Hey, just be there because it's family," because it's harming you, it's harming your wife. There's got to be a limit on that. Um, was the poster right for refusing to see nephew? I don't know. It's kind of like I who would even dare to say, "Hey, you come, but don't bring your wife"? Like, seriously? Come see your family, but don't bring your wife. I that just offends me straight out. Like, the fact that he's gotta say, "Hey, we're a package deal," when they're married, that's poor form. Poor form, family. Poor form. Oof. Okay, poll going out. Uh, let's see what Reddit's got to say. Probably not the arsehole. You are a hero. Yeah, that's what I thought. What a guy, right? You champ. You absolute champ. Yeah. Your family hates your wife for no reason. You see how much that hurts her and how ridiculous the grievances are, and you're holding them accountable. The unborn child isn't going to be bothered by you being or not being in their lives. It is your adult family who made the choice to be terrible, and they are the ones who will suffer for it. Mute their phone calls, spend your time with decent humans. I'm so sorry you had to make this choice, but good for you for making it, not making your wife put up with disrespect. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, You say you want to be in your nephew's life, but why? Is it because you genuinely want a relationship with him, or because you think he might need someone sane in the family? Or is it because you're mourning the idea of being part of a family you used to have and your nephew feels like the last thread? Because let's be honest, your family has made it clear that they don't respect your marriage. You've done everything right by your wife and they've made it a hostile environment. So if you're just trying to stay involved because you think you should, maybe it's worth letting go of that expectation. Well, I think it's because, you're related to that person and, um, as an uncle myself, I think you've got sort of, there is kind of a responsibility or a, you do want to be there for your family, but not not at the cost of my wife's health, or mental health, or not if it's making them upset or if they have to suffer for it. There's no way. That kid isn't going to miss someone he's never met unless you're going to be in his life long term in a healthy, stable way, and your family's not making that possible. So ask yourself, is this what you want, or the version of your family that you wish still existed? And the process hub will be thinking about this one all night. Thanks. It's a good question. I do like it. Is it him that you want? Well, I think it's more an obligatory thing, You want to help with your family's kids, like if your brother has a kid or your sister has a kid, you want to help with that. But at the same time, yeah, you're not gonna, I mean, my brother's family welcomed my wife with open arms, like, they were really nice, so I certainly wouldn't be doing that if, you know, if they were being mean to her. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not the arsehole. She twisted it to, Oh, so she won't let you come unless she comes too. No, I'm telling you, I've been thinking about how my family treats my wife and decided I don't like any of them anymore. I'm not spending time with people I don't like. For that matter, go ahead and lose my phone number. Well, okay, Reddit, settle down. Settle down. I get settle down. Like, is rabid a good way to describe Redditors? There's something I like about how rabid they can get for the right reason, but sometimes they get absolutely rabid, just wild, wildly rabid. Welcome to the In Time people. Was that a transfer from In Time? I don't see it coming up, but if you did transfer from In Time, give a big thanks to Nick and welcome, welcome. Um, Welcome to some consensual, solicited moral judgment. Yeah, In Time. Yeah, thanks, Grunge Thing, and welcome. Yeah, thank you for joining me. We're doing some moral judgment, but it is consensual and it is solicited. So, it's not random moral judgment, which is obviously a bad thing. You've wasted enough time. Correction, Dad, the rest of the family refuses to get along with the wife, not the other way around. The fact that Dad framed the dynamic as if you don't come here alone and do you what tell you to do, when we tell you to do it, then you won't be part of my nephew's life should be instructive to you. Well, I'm not sure that they said that, but you've wasted enough time dancing with these. Okay, Reddit, these people are his family, but uh, yeah, I sometimes think that Redditors, you know, need to get out of the basement or something. What's everyone else got to say? Um, not all US culture is trash. No, I'm on board with the cookie party, Purple. I'm on board with the cookie party. I really am. I really am. Let's see. You'll be driving from Minnesota, pick a couple of people in Wisconsin, Chicago area, Indiana, Ohio. Could you just swing by Western Australia there, Purple? Just swing by on your way over, yeah. Um, Jedi says, I tend to be protective. I would avoid those kind of situations when a conflict is on the horizon. Yeah, so, being on the autism spectrum, I have problems seeing when there's a conflict on the horizon, and I'll just face check it, mate. I will just face first into it, and then sort of have to deal with it. So, um, once I was in an argument that with a heated argument with somebody that I didn't know I was in an argument with. I was just talking, and he lost it, and I'm like, What happened?" Apparently, I was in an argument with that person. Didn't even notice. It's yeah, very strange. Very strange. Chocolate chip? Oh, now you're speaking my language. Now you're speaking my language. Deviant Outcast, I've never heard of a cookie party. Yeah, this is the first time I've heard of it. I would never withhold such a great thing from you, Mark, had I only known. I blame Big Bad Mama. Yeah, that's look, even if we don't know how to blaming Big Bad Mama is always a good bet. Like that person is trouble. That person is absolutely trouble. Um so do you know what cookie parties are? Okay. Has anyone got any comments about the actual moral situation here? Is this just cookie party all the way down? Okay. Um, you carry a water bottle? Yeah, I don't know why hydration and carrying a water bottle around is somehow make somebody a bad wife. I don't. How does that work exactly? I Yeah, I'm so weird. Deviant says, "What poster is not in the wrong poster? Parents are total assholes. They're petty and childish and manipulative." Yeah, I agree too. That was manipulation. And poster is just setting boundaries and prioritizing his wife, his family. Justin, yeah, hooligan. My wife would let me go without her if it's just to meet a nephew, but I wouldn't go without her permission. I'm happy to wait. if he's a newborn, not like he will know. Right, exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. Andrew Christopherson said, my partner's feelings are number one in my book. Well, son took over that role, but still stands. Your partner is like your other half. An attack against them could be considered an attack against you. Absolutely. You know, I don't know how you wouldn't see them as family. It's wild. Deviant Outcast said this isn't like they're concerned about there being abuse in the relationship. It's just a control issue where the parents are trying to control the poster and turn her against his wife. Maybe. I mean, we don't know the motivations of other people, Deviant. We don't know, but that could be a possibility. Sure. Jessica, the Transmetal Alchemist, says, I've never seen any of my nieces and nephews because all my cousins don't like me and don't want me in their lives. Oof. That sucks, Jess. That sucks. I hear that at a resident, sometimes you just got to set that bridge ablaze. Yeah, I generally don't try to burn bridges. It's usually a problem. Grunge Thing says, Reddit okay for the free speech, but a lot of them are hiding behind the incognito platform to just say whatever they want. That is probably true. And I mean, it has crossed my mind sometimes in the past, like you do get a problem with accountability on this kind of thing. That's something that's occurred to me about sort of cancel culture, which I'm not necessarily against. I think that sometimes sort of, you know, that can be an effective tool in holding somebody accountable or holding a company accountable, for instance. That's can be very, very useful. But when it is say a false allegation, is there any accountability for putting this stuff out? And, you know, that may be a problem in and of itself. Anyway, that's for another time. But yeah, it's sort of the lack of accountability can be a problem. So I get your grunge thing. wish I could, but it might be difficult to find gas stations mid-Pacific. Then go the other way around, Purple. Go through the Indian Ocean, okay? Just go the other way around, past Africa, through the Indian Ocean and into Australia that way. And Sweden, yeah, just don't forget to swing by Sweden as well. Put a sail on top of the car, use wind. Look, okay, so in the Book of Mormon, they managed to, you know, get in 0 AD, they managed to get a submarine to America. I think the least they can do is get, you know, a car to Australia, okay? Just saying. Everyone come to Minnesota Saturday for a cookie party. I'll reserve the community. Oh, that's so awesome. Thanks, Perbs. Look, if ever I'm over there, we will have a cookie party. I swear. Okay. And how did the poll go? What did people think? Morally passed? Yeah, absolutely. I'm right on board with that. Right on board. Fantastic. Okay, I'll do one last one and then wrap up, just giving you the heads up. Last one. And for people that are new, these aren't curated. I'm just going through them top to bottom. So these are new to me. They're probably new to you. You know, I certainly don't curate them or try and find good ones. They just come as they are. And, you know, they certainly, some of them are certainly coming hard. Maybe I misspoke. Okay, am I the arsehole? Aware Still says, am I the arsehole? My mum told me to hit the streets and now wants to know where I am. If they're saying thrown out of home, like just go, that is a horrible thing. I've made this very clear. That's a horrible thing to do to somebody if you've just told them without any warning to just get out. Because I've been thrown out of home and it is one of the most frightening things that you can ever experience. It is grab your stuff and go it is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Not knowing if you're going to be sleeping on the street, if you can call a friend, if something can happen. It's rough. It's rough. So hit the streets and now wants to know where I am. No, you don't have that right anymore. If you're doing that, if you're telling somebody to get out, because you're trying to force them to do something, then you are a terrible person, and absolutely you need to stop that manipulative behavior. Like, that is reprehensible. I'll just say that right now. Like, if it's like, oh, well, I told you to get out, so give you a good scare, do not do that. That is traumatic. Oof. Let's see. Oh, it was deleted by the person who originally posted it. Oh, god damn it. I was winding up for a rant. All right, next one. Oh, that's deleted as well. Wait, that says deleted? Is this? No? Okay. Am I the asshole? My husband will invite his family and friends over without telling me until that day. He expects me to clean, run the store, and prep cook everything. I finally just decided to leave the house the last time he told me because I only had 4 hours till their arrival. He cancelled. Wow, what a prick. Like, seriously, Huh? Family and friends over and without telling you until that day. Even if he is telling you when it is, like, why do you have to do everything? I what? You're not a catering service. I what the hell? I don't get it. Like, yeah, I mean, if he's helping out and stuff, I get it. But wow, what the hell? Like, I what? I can I what? He can't cook? Look, if you're a guy out there, just straight up, if you're a guy, you might have grown up in a household, the woman always cooks kind of thing. I grew up in that kind of household. Totally understand. Learn how to cook. You can do so. There's classes. Don't be ashamed. Don't be that guy that can't cook a damn thing, can't do anything. You know, just learn to cook. It's just a skill like anything else. Yeah, you're going to suck at first, but that's the same with everything. It's like, and if you want some motivation, if you're a single guy out there, women love a guy that can cook. Okay, they really do. A guy that can cook shows that you can take care of yourself, that you are a person that has, supported yourself. You can survive out there. Look, just learn to cook. It's not that hard. Just basic stuff, to be able to cook an egg. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just that you can cook. It's a good skill to learn. And I might say, cooking for somebody that you love and they enjoy it is a wonderful feeling. It's a good feeling. It feels good to be able to cook something, they enjoy it and are happy. It's a good feeling. Trust me, it's good. Don't listen to this. Oh, it's the woman that cooks. Fuck that. Like, seriously, that is silly. The thing is, his family is constantly judging and talking about each other. So when he says, it doesn't matter, I don't care, I know and he knows he's full of it. It doesn't matter, they don't care. I know and he knows he's full of it. Also, it's not just tidying the house. We are not regularly stocked in food or drinks to have people over, which is understandable. Yeah, I mean, I probably couldn't, put together something like just Lynn and I here. I couldn't do something like that. I'd have to go out and get stuff. Um, when I got home, I asked what he was planning on having for dinner, and he responded, I don't know. I guess it's good that they aren't coming over anymore. Now he is sulking and saying, I am the problem because I can't go with the flow. No, going with the flow would be inviting them over and letting them bring whatever they want and just saying, hey, chill out here. We haven't put anything on, but you can chill out. Like, that's going with the flow. Like, cooking and cleaning and tidying the house is not going with the flow. I have told him multiple times, I just need a couple of days notice. No, stop. Like, if he wants his family and friends over, he can do it in. What is wrong with this picture? Like, the problem is not the time frame. The problem is him getting you to do everything to facilitate what he wants. Oof. but he insists I am just difficult, uptight, and uncooperative. What the hell? Am I the arsehole? No, you're not arsehole enough, quite frankly. You need to be more of an arsehole. You need to say, hey, if you want your family and friends over, you chip in because I'm not doing everything for you. Is this just me? Like, shouldn't if he wants his family and friends over, he should be actually at least helping. I get that, you're a team effort and everything. Okay, that's cool. But at least helping. Oh, I don't. What what? I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay, let me sort out the poll and then I will see what the Redditors have to say. You know the drill. You know the drill. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're new. If you don't know the drill, I'll go to see what the Redditors say, and then I'll look at what people 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 have to say about this. Was the poster right for um, refusing to cook, clean, prep for hubby's oop, hubby's friends slash family? Okay, that's a bit wordy, but I think I got it out there. I think I got it out there. So I well, I mean, it's not like they even refused to cook or clean or whatever. They just said they need more time. I mean, holy crap. Like, I mean, I'm just thinking if I invited family and friends over and then just expected my wife to do like literally everything, I don't know. I don't know. That's a bit weird. That's a bit weird. Not the arsehole, says outrageous ad 9635. The fact that he cancelled instead of doing the prep work and hosting his own proves that he knows how much work is involved in going with the flow. Yeah, that is not my definition of going with the flow. My definition of going with the flow is like having my mates around and going, yeah, sort yourselves out, whatever you want to do. If you want something to eat, go out and grab something, or we'll see what's in the fridge. Don't just not stressing at all. Like, seriously, is this some new going with the flow that I was previously unaware of? Maybe the flow is his nickname for her. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe her nickname is actually the flow. And so going with the flow means she does every damn thing. If he doesn't want it to do it, why should you? That's a good. I pray that marriage doesn't find me. Okay, yeah, no, Reddit. I got to agree. That is actually funny. Was there a OP comment? No, there was no OP comment. Sweeper 1985 says, "Not the asshole. Ask him why he couldn't just go with the flow and do the work himself if it's so easy." Yeah, right. Like, seriously, dude, how is she the problem when she's told me multiple times to plan this shit versus let's just willy nilly this shit and go with the flow? I Yeah, I mean, he would have a point. He would have a point, except that when she doesn't do it, like, if going with the flow, that's fine, but then it should be fine if she goes out and, you got your friends and family just come over and that stuff's not done. It should be fine if you're going with the flow. I I I don't know why that's undermined by him not having them over if it's not done. Ugh. Reasonable Sale says, why didn't he just go with the flow and clean the house, run to the store, prep, cook everything? I mean, it's pretty easy, right? Slash sarcasm. Yeah. Yeah, no, and then he has a whole 4 hours to do it. Yeah. Well, it's pretty easy if somebody else is doing it, right? It's pretty easy jobs if somebody else is actually doing the work. I've found that for a lot of jobs, actually. You know, I found IT support to be particularly easy when somebody else was doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Not the asshole. Let him sulk. Keep doing this. Also, if your husband routinely acts like a spoilt child and his whole family is made of assholes, what are you doing in this relationship? Well, we don't know what the family is like, so calm down, Reddit. Calm down. Not the other. Him, honey, my family's coming over in 4 hours. You, okay, sit on the couch and play Candy Crush or game of choice, whatever you want. Yeah, that's how it would go in my house, sure. If I said, Lynn, my family's coming over in a few hours, that's basically how it would go, and that's fine. Ugh. Don't leave next time, just chill in the living room, watch TV, and when he asks you why you aren't frantically getting the house ready, tell him you're going with the flow, and you look forward to seeing what he comes up with for this impromptu get-together. He'll probably cancel it, but, that's not your problem, that's his decision. But, in some way, you've got to sit down, but seriously, you've got to sit down and start talking about this, because if he expects you to do this, and you don't talk about it, like, you're in a relationship with the guy, you've got to at least come to some understanding that, an emergency, like a lack of preparation on your part, does not constitute an emergency on mine, right? Like, maybe you should get a shirt, because you can get shirts with that on. I always remember that. A lack of preparation on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Okay. What have the peeps got to say? Phrasing. Yeah, no, I got you. I got you, Deviant. I got you. Michael says divorce him. Well, yeah, I mean, if that's a boundary that you set and he won't come to compromise on that, or at least try, then that may be in the foreseeable future somewhere. It's kind of, yeah, it kind of is like a you know, it is one of those things, yeah. That may be where it's going, but we don't know. We don't know. I would kind of recommend couples counseling or marriage counseling before that, but it may be the case. And Grunge Thing says you're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong, but obviously that would be further down the line. But yeah, if he's going to be that big and an asshole, well, and I dread to think what else he kind of just expects from her every waking moment, kind of thing. Andrew says something tells me religion is involved in this dynamic. Well, not necessarily. I mean, it possibly, absolutely possibly. Yes, there is definitely a lot of religions have a misogynistic bent to them. It could just be cultural though. That could be it. Andrew said, I like to cook for a lady. Best thing. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, hooked a couple of girlfriends, inviting them over and cooking dinner for them. Black forest cake, damn. I Black forest cake was spoiled for me. That's another story though. I used to work night shift doing packing for a large bakery, and they always cut this black forest slice, and there was always like a tiny bit on the end that was like it just came off the end, and so I ate a lot of that, and yeah. Deviant Outcast says, yes, divorce him. That sounds like an issue. That's not a one-time thing. It's a pattern. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it does, you know, does sound like that. Definitely. Um, Grunge Thing says, going with the flow goes two ways, if he means that. Mm-hmm. Oh, always funny how going with the flow. That flow's always one way. It's, yeah. Michael says tries to reason and he refused. Yeah, and that's definitely a red flag. Don't get me wrong. I think for a relationship, probably try marriage counseling, because sometimes the people you love, when they tell you something, it doesn't sink in. Sometimes you do need that objective third person to say, "Hey, I have no skin in the game here." Right? Like the marriage counselor will say, "Hey, I'm not on anybody's side, but this is how that makes her feel." And you've got to understand that sometimes it's just good to have an objective kind of thing. Um, Michael said, sorry, Miss Purple says she's been very reasonable, asking for a couple of days notice to have time to get things ready. Yeah, absolutely. Probably more reasonable than warranted. Deviant Outcast says, yep, this sounds abusive, or at least abuse adjacent. Abuse adjacent. Okay. not because of that one occasion, but because there's an underlying pattern that's very unhealthy. Yeah, um, yeah, it could be. Yeah, no, I get you. It does sound like a pattern that is unhealthy. Jessica, and it also it does sound like that he is sort of um, manipulative and punishing her for not doing what he expects of her. If he's sulking and carrying on that she hasn't done this, um, I that's manipulative in my book. Jessica, the transhuman alchemist, says, "How do you exist in 2025 and think like, act like this?" No idea, no idea. But I'm like, how do you exist in 2025 and elect a felon to government? Like, there's a lot of things in 2025 I thought I would never see ever, but here we are. Here we are. How is it we exist in 2025 and there's flat earthers? How is that possible? I don't know. It's baffling to me. This is the least, not the least, but it is definitely not one of the wildest things that people believe in 2025. Or let me give you the tip right now, and that's even wilder. So here we are. Michael says his version of going to flow is her working like a slave. Yeah. Yep. Agree. Grunching says going to flow, not planning this sick slavish crap. Yeah. Like I don't think he understands what going with the flow means, or going with the flow means you're not obliged to do anything. You're just taking it as it comes. So, planning slavishly is not going with that's wow. He should go with the flow. Seriously. I'm having friends coming over tonight. Can you throw some snacks together while I claim? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, work as a team. Teamwork makes the dream work, people. Come on. Michael Michaels says she already talked about it and refused to compromise. Yeah, true. That's where I would hope you would have an objective third person sort of come in and say, "Hey, she's compromising and saying, hey, I need a couple of days. Can you compromise as well?" I mean, yeah, no, I totally get where you're coming from. And it is like the other problem is he's not listening to her, right? That's what you're saying. Yeah, I get you. She's not listening, being listened to. He is just not listening to what she is saying, and that's a problem too. Um, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Purple said, although honestly, I would never invite people over without asking my partner if it's a good night for it. Yeah, me too. I Yeah, I would certainly say, "Hey, do you mind if fill in the blank person came over tonight, or a few friends came over tonight?" If she says, "Oh, I don't really feel up to it," it'd be like, "Yeah, cool, no problem. Rain check." Or if you're fine not interacting, that's fine. Like, talk to your wife, damn it. I get you, Purple. Canceling Deviant Outcast says canceling seems to be like a way of punishing her for saying no. Yes, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's obviously not the first time he's done this, and she's told him before that it doesn't work, and yet he keeps doing the same. Yeah, and it seems like canceling and then sort of displaying to her resentment is that punishment, right? Sorry, it keeps doing the same thing, expecting her to do all the work and just go with the flow, i.e., belittling her experience, belittling her effort, belittling her experience, belittling her. Yeah, and it's that thing of somebody doesn't do what you want, so you cancel that thing that you want to do, and then you display resentment for the person that didn't go along with it. It seems like it's that manipulative thing of making somebody feel bad for um, not doing something you want them to do and they don't want to do. It is a guilt trip, right? Like, don't you feel guilty that and he's not outright saying it, but he is showing resentment towards her, which is just not that's not good. That's not good. Purple says too much of a good thing. Look, look, look. I'm having a cookie party tonight. I'm having a cookie party tonight. Could you just go ahead and bake all the cookies for me? All the cookies. No, I'm not going to get over that cookie party thing. I am now. I'm enlightened. This is a enlightening experience. My entire look that somebody mentioned a cookie party. I found out what it was, and I like my paradigm has changed. I am now all on the side of the US. If they invented a cookie party, I'm on board. I'm 100% on board. I'm 100% on board. Sterling Nash says it's interesting what people consider abuse nowadays was simply considered marriage back in the day. Yeah, progress. Yeah, absolutely. Deviant Outcast says, I should add that I'm very sensitive to the sort of behavior portrayed by the husband because it mimics part of the abusive household I grew up in. Yeah, I get that, Deviant. I'm sorry to hear that. And yeah, I'm so sorry. That sucks. Grunge Thing says, in the age of communication, we've lost the ability to communicate. Kinda incomprehensible. Um, it's an interesting comment, and I do see what you're getting at. I think that we've entered a time where we only communicate on a surface level. It's all about the thing or what we've encountered, and it's not about how we feel about things and how we. But I mean, I think that that's debatable. I think that there's always been a problem communicating sort of those deeper relationship things between people. And I think that um, we've come a long way. At the same time, there's definitely still a lot of work to be done. I get what you mean, though. That some people don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. I get what you're saying. Um, yeah, I think that we've sort of our communication has focused on entertainment, has focused on um, um, information, and it hasn't focused on the emotions and the thoughts that people have. It's more focused on data and information and things like that, rather than how people are reacting and feeling and what they're going through. I think that's a really prescient comment, though, Grunge Thing. I think that's a really good comment. I totally get where you're coming from. We've lost the ability to um, speak from our experience and what's happening to us. It's interesting comment. And yeah, I kind of it's not really incomprehensible if we're focusing all on data and entertainment and what the latest celebrity is doing. It's not surprising that we've lost the ability to be in touch with ourselves and the people around us. We are a distracted people, I guess. Um, but there's ways to address that, and I think that we've got to, like I said earlier in the show, the first step to solving a problem is to acknowledge that it exists. Smoke signals, heligraph, Morse code. Okay, okay. I think you're slightly older than me, Jedi. What the hell is a cookie party? Okay, let me educate you, sir. A cookie party is where it's a potluck for cookies. Apparently, I'd never heard of such a thing. I came across it in one of these posts, and oh my god, somebody's a genius. It's a potluck for cookies. Everybody bakes cookies. They bring homemade cookies to a party, and they basically dish out cookies. So you go home with a bag full of different cookies from everybody. That is insanely intelligent. Communication zeitgeist rebellion. Yep, absolutely, Michael Michaels. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. How did the poll go? What did people vote? I've got a funny feeling I know the result already, but yeah, morally passed. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yep. All right. Well, that was the last one. Thank you so much for joining me for AIMBOT. Am I morally bankrupt or them? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are not already and you would feel like you've had a good time. I've had a fantastic time, and I have the knowledge of the cookie party. It's so good that it deserves. There's some things that are so good they deserve to be shared around the world, quite frankly. And you know, I now have a new thing that I can share. So that's amazing. Thanks, Reddit. I don't feel like I say that enough or ever. But thanks, Reddit. That's amazing. Um, as always, don't forget that the Arc and Counter protest is coming up. If you can make it, definitely make it. Kentucky Atheist is doing it, so drop by his channel if you want more details. The Kentucky Atheist. Joe's an amazing guy, really good guy. Highly recommend. Don't forget, as always, I will be back on Friday with Fundamentalist Fails, where we'll be basically going over some fundamentalist stuff to have a laugh and dissect it into the nonsense that it is. Tomorrow is the member stream, so it'll be tomorrow night for those of us in the US, Thursday morning for those of us who are not in the US. So come by if you're a member or you've got an invite member. I'm just going to be playing some games, talking. I'll probably talk a bit more about the debate that I did. But yeah, that's the week coming up. I do believe we're missing the debate dissection, the debate review show this Saturday night Eastern time because Ember has a Comic-Con to run. So my partner in crime, Ember, is going to be somewhere else. So we won't be doing that this week, but we'll be back the next week. And I believe we're continuing on the Dan Barker versus who was it? Matt Slick debate, which was great. It was hilarious. But thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, be kind to yourself. You don't have to do the organizing if someone wants to throw a party. Okay, if you want to help do a cookie party, that's great. But don't let someone throw a cookie party and make you do all the work. No, be kind to yourself. Okay, be kind to other people. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.